Okay? We left off 140 next to the last paragraph. He says, therefore, to be able to visualize God is not possible. So how do we relate to interaction with existence? His kindness, what he does for humanity. Act. Not what is it? There's nothing beyond concept. Because the only context that we have relevance to him is only through his actions. There's no way to visualize him or to come upon what that is in terms of our intellect. The Ramchal writes in Das Tfunos that at the end of time, when Hashem Melech HaKoloretz, where there'll be prophecy, will be prevalent in the world, and so on and so forth. Whatever level anybody comes to, including Moshe Rabbeinu, he says it's less than a tipa shebiyam of understanding who God is. Less than a drop in the ocean. A drop in the ocean is nothing. This is less than a drop. Those are his words. Less than a tipa shebiyam. That will be the level of our understanding who God is. This is when he reveals himself in the most obvious way. So today we're unlimited, an unlimited distance from where they were generations back. With them, it's not comparable to what's going to happen after Yemos HaMashiach. So in what way could we have any level of understanding who God is? Only in terms of we being beneficiaries of what he does, to his interaction with the world. You have an understanding that it's God, but of an understanding of what he really is, it's not possible. He's infinite. I'll give you an example. A person has average intelligence, and you meet a person who's a genius. Could you discern what level genius is? A person who's a genius, he's able to have an understanding of various levels of genius, because he himself is a genius. A person of average intelligence, it's beyond me. So if you have many geniuses, many levels of genius, that whole area is just beyond him. You understand? It's the same thing. God is beyond even the greatest angel, because God is infinite. An understanding within the context of what you're supposed to understand. You can't understand something that you can't understand. It's beyond your capacity. Okay? Okay? When you've come to a point that he's not in your mind, he's not in your feeling, meaning you realize there's no way to relate to him, to visualize him. Right? Ernie, this is what you brought up about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Meaning you don't visualize God, that he has eyes or he has a hand. No. But it seems to be, it's not so simple. Because he says, when you've come to a level that you removed him from your mind and from your feelings, meaning in terms of sensing him as a being. You may know he's not a being, but the question is, how do you feel about him? How do you relate to him? Right? Some people have to relate to him in that context, otherwise they can't relate. So it's a much more advanced level when it's not necessary to relate to him as that. You don't visualize anything. You stand before God, He's there, and there's no visualization. There's no sensing of Him. Kilu einu nifrad mimenu, kilu einu nifrad mimeko, zosi tachlis dioso. That's the ultimate level. Asher novi oleh ba'omro v'yodata yom Chovos HaLevavos ki Hashem hu Elokim b'shamayim ma'al v'oretz b'doch zeinot. Right? This is Moshe Rabbeinu says. You should know today, and you should take it to heart. Ki Hashem hu Elokim b'shamayim ma'al v'oretz b'doch zeinot. So what is that? It's purely understanding. Va'omer echad min hachachomim hayodea sabori dasi seiro. Unival binyono yoser. He says, the more you know about God, the more perplexed you become. It's understandable, right? You speak to an ordinary person, knows nothing about agriculture, nothing. Never went to the up in Cornell Agricultural School. Never went there. Now, how do you plant a potato or a flower? You go to the supermarket, buy yourself an envelope of seeds, put it in the ground, you buy a pot of the soil, follow directions, and that's where it goes. So how does it work? Put it in the ground, it grows, right? But a person understands all aspects of the interaction, the nutrients in the soil with what's within the seed and the potential, and how, chemically speaking, this all happens. It's amazing. So the more you understand, the more amazed you will become. And as you become more advanced, the more you don't understand. So that's what he says. Your greater understanding of God causes you to be even more perplexed. One thing we know, there's nothing beyond God's ability.
Why did the Chazan explain, why didn't God equip us with more capacity to understand it?
Okay, why, the Ramchal explains that the world is created within a certain context. One of the appellations for Hashem is what is Shakai. What Shakai? Shokochodai. What does it mean, Shokochodai? That although God's power is unlimited, God reined in on His power, and therefore, when He demonstrates His power, it's within control, within limits, within limitation. When He said originally, let there be light, let there be whatever it may be, the world should have actually just manifested itself and just keep expanding endlessly. So why didn't He? You know something? It doesn't reflect well on God. If He created such a finite world, relatively speaking, to who He is, doesn't reflect well on Him. Because if He is nothing's beyond, it should be
Infinite.
It continuously expands. So the Ramchal writes, why did God create the world? Why did He create anything? That man should be the beneficiary of the creation. It's opportunity for the human being. So he uses the term Gozer Chochmoso, his wisdom decreed that this context of as He created is the best opportunity for the human being. Meaning beyond that, we didn't why? But that's what. So the example, right? Person is an astrophysicist, and he has a 1-year-old child. Now, and he gets on the floor and he babbles with his child. That's part of his interaction with his child. He says, "This man, he must be, must be retarded." No, because when you talk to a 1-year-old child and you interact with him, that's the way you interact, because that's beneficial to the child. Because that's part of the child's development. God created the world for us not to show you who He is. It's within our capacity to be worthy and be meritorious of the setting of this existence within its limitation. If it would have been different, you wouldn't be as great a beneficiary. Why? Only God knows. Why did God create you with 2 hands and 2 legs and 2 eyes? Why not 6? Only God knows. No, that's okay. That's your 6th grade Rebbe didn't teach you. Okay, that's already, you have to study to know that.
But why did God create us as beings to share His goodness? Only God knows why.
No. That's
Why
it.
did He create human beings?
That's chesed. Olam chesed yiboneh. A being who's good does goodness. That's what God does goodness. Creating an opportunity for man to be the ultimate beneficiary, that's the ultimate goodness. A person who's a bal chesed, right? This is only a slight semblance of this. What's the difference between one who does chesed and one who's a bal chesed? Right? One who does chesed, you did an act of kindness. A bal chesed that's your essence. You do chesed. You seek it out. If God his essence is goodness, there's no deficiencies or shortcomings or anything negative about it, what does that being do? Not that he's compelled to do anything. What does he want to do? He wants to do goodness. So creating the ultimate opportunity to merit the ultimate goodness, that's why he created existence. Because if man succeeds and is meritorious, who does he have a relationship with? With God himself. He cleaves to God, which is the ultimate. There's nothing at that level of goodness. Okay, there's nothing now, Ernie, this takes 40, 50, 60 years just to get it into your head. Forget about it into your heart.
Is it accurate to say that it's from that we've already come to, that we've learned on ideas that are now in this world, that their understanding is closer to our understanding than their understanding is to reality?
Relatively speaking, everybody's limited. But they could sense it. Part of a siyata dishmaya is, even though it's like a person, a well-weathered businessman, l'havdil, you offer him a deal. Because of his experience, he doesn't know exactly what it is. He senses whether it's a good deal or a bad deal, just with a slight degree of investigation. A person with a degree of experience, he may think it's a great deal and it would be disastrous, or vice versa. He may reject it, and it may be the ultimate deal. So the one who knows that it's disastrous or it's exceptional, does he know what the deal is? He doesn't know what the deal is, but he senses it because of his experience. The greater and more advanced the person is, he has a greater sense of things. But what is it? I know it's special. I know it's infinite. I know it's perfect. I know you know all that. But what is that? There's no way to come upon that.
So someone would say, like Reb Chaim, I wouldn't put anyone I know into the same category in a sense, but things that he writes about, it's very possible that the average person is closer, his understanding than me is understanding what's really going on.
With Reb Chaim who?
Reb Chaim wasn't.
Yeah. Okay.
So is that a fair statement?
Again, repeat what you said.
That the average person's understanding of reality is closer to his understanding than his understanding.
Relative to understanding, of course.
What it really
Yeah,
is.
but then you're by saying it that way, you're minimizing what his understanding is. You understand? There's an expression, midgets on backs of giants. Well, we understand it's built on other people who understood more than we.
Right.
But even if we understand, we understand maybe at a certain level, but to really internalize it and grasp it, we don't grasp it the way they grasped it.
Right.
We don't grasp what we don't understand as they grasp what they don't understand. Because they knew so much more,
Right.
and despite that, they didn't understand. Like as he just said, the more you understand, the more complicated things become.
Right.
The more perplexed you become.
It's not that we shouldn't turn to them to get answers, because we should. But
Yeah, but the answers you get is not. It's not knowing exactly what God is. There's no way to know what God is. Okay, back to the drawing.